My 2-hour bus journey from London to Southampton had an interesting conversation with a man who said that he's headed towards the city for a collection of a ship. At other times, it would have been probably a little surprising, but knowing the relation between Titanic and Southampton, it wasn't too much of a shock. Southampton is a port city after all. And it is here that India will finally get underway in the World Cup, nearly a week after the tournament has begun. India will be playing their first game, and it's against South Africa, a team that has already played 2 games in the competition so far. So that's a bit of an anomaly, but that will be sorted out soon in this beautiful city of Southampton. Team India left for Southampton the very next day after their warm-up game win against Bangladesh. They got down to some serious practice earlier today, having practiced and had some fun on and off the field even before. But rain cut down that session towards the end of that scheduled practice. Till about a few months ago, England and India were the only 2 teams really tipped to go the distance. But Australia are back in contention as well, and one of the reasons could be the return of David Warner and Steven Smith. But that aside, the Warner and Smith return aside, even in the absence of these 2 players, India struggled to close out the home ODI series against Australia, and that might send a few jitters down the spines of the Indian fans. Knowing how coach Ravi Shastri and captain Virat Kohli operate, they won't be looking too much into that series loss though. It was towards the end of a long season. There might have been a combination of mental, physical exhaustion, some bit of complacency while being up 2-0, and you tend to ignore such things. What the Kohli-Shastri combination could be looking at is their showing over the last 4 years since the previous World Cup, in which they have won 56 matches and lost just 27, giving them a win-loss ratio of more than 2, second only to England. Kohli, Rohit Sharma and to a lesser extent Shikhar Dhawan lead the batting charts, while Bumrah and Kuldeep Yadav have championed many a wins. But the big question that might have fallen just a shade short of getting tabled in the Indian Parliament probably is who is India's ODI number 4. It could play a vital role at some point in this tournament. The good news for India, KL Rahul might have cemented that spot with a century against Bangladesh, which means that if Kedar Jadhav is fit, Shankar might be sitting out. But that will only be known at the toss. As far as the bowling lineup is concerned, I would probably prefer if India goes in with their 5 best bowlers or 4 best bowlers apart from Hardik Pandya. And the 4 best for me would be Jasprit Bumrah, a Kuldeep Yadav, a Yuzvendra Chahal and Shami getting that nod over Bhuvneshwar Kumar. But that said, Jadeja had a long net session, faced a lot of throwdowns, short balls on his body, and that may or may not suggest something. South Africa is just 2 games into the competition, and Captain Faf du Plessis has already admitted that their plan A has gone awry. The plan A was to bombard the opposition into submission with a lot of pace. But Dale Steyn hasn't yet played a game, and I can see him practice right now, so he might be fit for the next one, but he hasn't played so far. Lungi and Gidi suffered a hamstring injury last game, and it is all down to Kagiso Rabada and the all-rounders now. Up against them is a team that had not so long ago, in 2017-18, beaten them 5-1 at home. Yes, India beat South Africa 5-1 in South Africa. And add those mental scars to the squad situation that they find themselves in. If you did not know what the meaning of backs to the wall was, there you have it. South Africa will now need to play like they have their backs to the wall, much like what Pakistan had done in the 1992 World Cup. And here's where Faf du Plessis' captaincy will come to the fore. Before the tournament opener, Faf had remarked that he loved leading the side. It was something that came naturally to him. He had said, "My most enjoyable times playing cricket is when I do captain." And he has proven that. He averages 54 as an ODI captain when you compare that with his overall average of 46. And that's brilliant going for someone who has been around for a long time. And South Africa will need that from him, because 2 defeats in the first 2 matches of a World Cup is South Africa's worst start in any World Cup tournament. Assuming the teams have to win, say, 5 matches, if not 6, to make it to the semi-finals, South Africa are now left with having to win those 5 matches out of the remaining 7, which means that the room for error that South Africa have isn't far too much. And while this might not be a must-win game for them, it's almost getting to a point where it could get to a must-win. So what does the head-to-head say between India and South Africa? Well, South Africa have always held an edge over India in ODI cricket. In fact, South Africa hold the edge over most teams in ODI cricket except probably Australia. They have a 45-28 advantage on head-to-head, but in the last 7 matches, they have lost 6 matches to India. In ICC tournaments as well, India have a better record, having won 5 of their 8 matches, including the last time that they played in the Champions Trophy, where both teams had to win to make it to the semi-final, and India managed to easily beat South Africa to make it to the last 4. So this is the last segment where I try to give a prediction. I'm not very good at this. I have had a woeful record at it. But I'll talk about Rose Bowl, which has been a high-scoring ground here. As recently as the last month, Pakistan nearly chased down England's score of 373 at this very ground. And in the ODI before that, England had chased down West Indies' score of 288 in a mere 38 overs. Amongst grounds that have hosted more than 2 ODIs since the previous World Cup, the Rose Bowl is the 3rd quickest scoring ground. Yes, third quickest scoring behind Trent Bridge, obviously, and Mohali. Well, looking at the pitch, and we saw the pitch today, it was shaved off all the grass that was present in the morning. And the previous scores, my prediction for this game is that both teams will be scoring more than 280 on this one, irrespective of the bowling lineup that you see, with a Bumrah on one side and Rabada on the other. That's my prediction for this game. Suneer Chowdhary here for World Cricket Chat.